It says May 6, 2028. So I'm putting longevity out in the atmosphere for you 10 years down the road. You'll still be living, you'll still be healthy, you'll still be praising God. Let's proceed to the next slide. Want to put a disclaimer out. Each and every one of us are individuals. So you have been created, God created us in his unique way. So everything that I say today, it's going to be general for the public, but we also know that we are individuals. We have individual nutritional needs. We have individual health and fitness needs. So I'm going to provide you with some general knowledge that's going to assist you in your walk to a better whole life, okay, for nutrition and fitness. We're going to cover the importance of water. These are all going to be things to enhance your current lifestyle. And as Ms. Jo said, the name of my business is Back to the Basics. And it's that for a certain reason. We're going to start right at the bottom. So we're going to talk about the importance of water. And then we're going to move along. We're going to talk a little bit about our food choices. And I'm going to highlight some things that will help you with some meal planning. And then we're going to go into a little move more exercise segment. Okay? And after that, I'll tell you a little bit about health and disease overall for your health. And then we have a short Q&A. This is going to be very interactive, so I'm counting on my audience to be very interactive this morning, okay? Y'all ready? Okay, great. Let's proceed. So why do we need water? Why do we need water? Anybody? It's an essential part of our life, right? So how much water do you normally drink? Anybody, just scream it out. How much water do you normally intake a day? 64 ounces? That's an awesome start. How many people drink coffee in the mornings? Or do you have a Coke or a Pepsi? Any type of caffeinated drink. If you have any type of caffeinated drink in the mornings. Okay, awesome. I like a little coffee in the mornings. So let me give you a secret. It's good to baseline our water intake at 64 ounces. That's 8-ounce glasses of water a day, or 4 16.9 bottles of water a day. But if we have to have that little bit of Joe in the morning or that Mountain Dew throughout the day, guess what? How many of us stop at 8 ounces of coffee? I think McDonald's starts at 12 ounces, right? So what we need to do, and you can't go in the store and just buy an 8-ounce bottle of Mountain Dew. It normally is it 16, 20 ounces now? So I have a rude awakening for you. If you have caffeine any time throughout the day, you need to counteract that with 2 additional cups of water. So if you like to cruise through the drive-thru at McDonald's and order a sweet tea that's 32 ounces, guess how much water you have to drink to counteract that? No mathematicians? You have to have 64, and your baseline is already 64, right? So you got to have another 64. So that means that day you have to have 128 ounces of water. Do you know why? The caffeine and the sugar. And we're going to get into the sugar later on in the presentation. But you need to counteract those other beverages that are entering your body with water to keep your body functioning throughout the day. Not only, we know our kidneys need the water, but our brain needs the water. It's getting warm. We don't want to get dehydrated throughout the day. So water is an essential part of our day. Let's start our day with a little bit of word and a little bit of water, okay? Okay. And just the urine check, we all probably have heard this. We don't want dark yellow urine, because that's an indication that we are not dehydrated, but we're not hydrated enough. Okay? Awesome. Let's proceed. Oh, look at here. So nutrition makes a difference. We have our lady to my right. She's not as lean as our lady on the left, correct? Now, what are some things you see with our lady on the right? What type of foods do we see that make up the composition of her body? Cake, French fries, steak, fried chicken, All the things that we eat sometimes, right? How about our lean lady on the left? What do we see? Fruits, vegetables. We see asparagus. I think we see peaches, cucumbers, nice leafy greens. Do we really believe this? Do we believe it? So let's go. As women, we are like superheroes, right? We take care of the entire family. We take care of the community. We take care of the neighbors' kids. We pick them up. We pick our kids up. We do everything. We have a problem with saying no. Correct? I'm talking to the women. And as Christians, as a general, if we are not our best, we cannot motivate, we cannot teach, we cannot inspire, we cannot encourage, and we cannot support anybody. What's the mission of St. Peter's? What's the mission? If I'm fueling my body with junk every day, how can I live out the mission of this church? Come on, Christians. See, we want the word to apply to us at certain points, but it applies to us with health and nutrition as well, okay? Pastor J.C. Jr. just told us that. So we have to apply the word at all times. Because 1 Corinthians 6:9-20 says, do you know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, who you have received from God? You are not your own. You are bought with a price. Therefore, you need to honor God. We need to honor God with the temple that he gave us. Okay, let's move on. Why do we eat? Why do we eat? Do we really eat because we're hungry? No. Why do we eat? Give me some reasons why we eat. I heard someone say we eat just to be eaten. Because the food is good. What else do we eat? To nourish our bodies. That is a perfect reason to eat. But I'm going to break it down and tell you why most of us are eating. Okay? So most of us eat because we're socializing. We go over to a friend's house, they call us, they say they've cooked, the kitchen table's laid out, we're socializing, we're having a good time. That's why we're eating. We're eating to celebrate. Someone's birthday comes along. What do? Do we call a friend and say, hey girl, it's your birthday, let's meet at the gym? What do we normally do? We normally go out to eat. We eat for happiness, right? Eating makes us feel happy. We eat for rewards, even those that go and work out. We get on the scale, we lose 1 pound. Oh, I lost 1 pound. I'm going to go treat myself. And then you gain 2 pounds treating yourself, right? You get a bonus at work. You got a little extra money. What do we go do? We go out to eat. We don't just go to McDonald's or somewhere. We go somewhere big because we got a little extra money, right? For mental health support, we see it all the time. People get stressed. They can't handle the stress. What do? They eat. Has anyone ever looked at TLC, My 600-Pound Life? Most of those people, when it comes down to the root cause of how they got 600 pounds, why is it? It's because of their mental stability. So we have to be able to take care of ourselves spiritually, mentally, and physically. Okay? Thank you. So why should we eat? And someone over here said it. To nourish our bodies. It's an energy source. Food is meant to be an energy source to our bodies, to fuel our bodies so we can go out into the vineyard and win souls for Christ. That's why we should be eating, right? It's an energy source. For our health, for our overall health, for longevity. I already said 10 years from now, we're all going to be sitting back here. We're all still going to be living, so we want to have longevity in our lives. We do it for endurance. We have probably some athletes in the house. So in order to fuel your body, to make it through the day, to endure, that's why we eat. We do it for mental clarity. Anyone ever had brain fog? And you just got to get something to eat. So these are the reasons why we do it. And we do it to strengthen our immune system. Do those sound like good ways that we can adapt to eating instead of what food is not for? We can start looking at why we need to eat and kind of tweak. You see how we're getting back to the basics with a few things? Okay? Let's proceed. Ooh, every bite you take is either fighting disease or it's feeding disease. Every bite you take is either fighting disease or it's feeding disease. It's just like putting fertilizer on grass and looking at it grow. When we put too much sugar, too many carbs, too many of the wrong things into our bodies. Some of us can get a cold and it lasts for months. But look back at what you're eating, because some of the foods that you're eating is allowing your immune system to be low and not be able to fight off the disease, something as simple as a common cold. So think about what you're eating. Think about not only what you're eating, but what we're drinking. That's allowing those things to sit in our systems. If I remember correctly, this congregation does a fast at the beginning of each year. Is that correct? 21-day fast. What's the purpose? A cleanse under God. So it's honor God. So spiritually, that's the way we think of spiritually. But do you remember within the first 3 days of that cleanse how you feel? How do you feel the first 3 days of the fast? Energy level starts to go down. Do you know why? Because of sugar, right? So your body is really detoxifying itself. You're detoxing. We're reading the word. You have a wonderful fast book. It's very well laid out. I know because I get one every year and I participate. So it's very well laid out. We have the word. We take notes. You come to Bible study. Bishop, he comes in and you know, he's teaching the word and you start getting full off the word until you forget, oh, I haven't eaten. You don't even think about it. But it's the same way from a physical aspect. You're detoxing from all of those toxins in your body that you're feeding yourself from food. The spiritual aspect of it is that you're honoring God and you're also detoxifying those negative thoughts. So think of food as your fuel, and every month when you do your 3-day fast, they know a little something about St. Peter's. So every year when you do 21-day fast, and every month when you kick off the month, you know, everyone likes to kick off the month fresh, right? So think of it as when I do my fast, take that into consideration. Don't go on the 4th day and order a steak. Oh, I'm going to treat myself. Don't do that. Slowly enter back into some of those foods that you've been eating. Okay? Let's proceed. So what type of energy sources do we have? I know everyone has heard of macronutrients. Macronutrients are carbs, proteins, and fats. Can you believe that fats can be healthy? They can be healthy. I'm going to show you a few. So what do carbohydrates do for our bodies? What was that? Energy. Did I hear sugar? Sugar. What else? Can you get carbs from fruits and vegetables? That's correct. Okay. So carbohydrates. What's your favorite carb? You want to have a favorite carb? Bread. Whoo. That's one of the worst ones out there. Potatoes. What else? So let's briefly talk about carbs a little bit. So the best carbs are those that come from foods that are not processed. Okay? So sometimes we get a little bit confused on things that are processed versus things that are non-processed. Okay? So our fruits, our vegetables, our grains. If you go to the store and you get it in a box and it has plastic wrapped around it, it's processed. I know. We had a client and I said, you need to cut back on your processed foods. She said, I never eat processed foods. And I said, okay, well, tell me what you had today. Show me your food log. So I'm going through it. I'm like, highlight all of these things that are processed and I give it back. And she said, oh. And I said, yeah, I'm going to enlighten you that you are eating processed food. So a lot of times we do because we don't know. It's really not our fault. But now that I'm delivering the information to you today, and you go out and you get processed foods, then it's your fault. Before it wasn't your fault, but now if you go and get it, it's going to be your fault. Now, if we combine our carbohydrates with protein and fat, what is that going to do for us? It's going to extend your energy. Do you ever remember your parents saying, make a happy plate? Or you ever seen those plates when you were in school? You noticed that the plates had different sections in them? Those sections were proteins, carbs, and fats. They didn't tell us that, but those sections were proteins, carbs, and fats. And we need a combination of all of those to create a well-balanced meal. But the thing is, sometimes we have too many carbs or too many proteins or too many fats. So the important thing is to be able to portion control those items so that we can get the best well-balanced meal. And that goes for everybody. It goes for if you just eat proteins, fats, and carbs and you eat meat, or if you're a vegetarian, or if you're vegan, or if you're pescatarian. I mean, there's a lot of different tarians out there. So it doesn't matter if you're any of those. You still need to get a well-balanced, proportioned meal. Okay? One other thing is carbs turn into sugar. So, have you ever seen someone with, we're talking oversized ab section. Oversized, like way oversized. I'm not talking about anyone in here today. Just someone you've seen out on the street, oversized. Do you ever wonder, what do you normally say about them? What do you really normally say about them? You probably normally say, wow, they have a beer belly. What is beer? It's a carb, and carbs turn into. So if any time you put on a dress or your pants and it fits tight around your midsection, go back and think about what you've been putting in your body. You've probably been eating too many breads, too much pasta, and you've probably been eating them in excess. So those things start turning into sugar, and guess where they go? They don't go where we want it to go. They go right here. They go right here. So I want you to start thinking about that as you prepare your meals for this week, or you even prepare your meals for today. Now, have you ever just been on Stratford Road or out on University, and you saw that bright orange sign that said hot? And it almost is gleaming. It looks like it's calling your name. Have any of you ever stopped? You're excited to get that nice, hot, Krispy Kreme donut, right? So you're excited when you get it. You don't just get one. They're so hot, they're melting. And before you know it, the dozen is gone. Right? You're driving down the street about to wreck your car eating those donuts. I know, I've been there. But how do you feel an hour later? You start to feel sluggish, don't you? Because that sugar is starting to take over your body. Okay? So let's just be mindful of when we see that hot sign, or when we're intaking different types of breads and pastas, of how that impacts our overall health. Okay? Let's proceed. So we're going to start to talk about quality types of foods that we can adopt into our diet. So we know from a protein perspective, we have chicken, fish, different types of meats, quinoa, raw nuts, I want to stress raw nuts, because raw nuts are not the ones that are roasted in the oven, are the ones that have a honey glaze on them. You know what I mean? They're not the honey glazed nuts. Raw nuts are in their purest form, okay? They normally they look really dry. They don't have sea salt on them. They're in their purest forms, okay? Eggs, different types of seeds, and leafy greens. So all of these things in the protein section are so important to us because, as you heard in Miss Jo's introduction to me, I'm an avid runner. Hadn't run before, like yesterday. I hadn't run in a while, but managed to get out there. I'm an avid runner. So what proteins help to do is repair the tissues in your body. Okay? So it's so important that we get enough protein, and there is an equation to make sure that we get enough protein in our bodies to even be able to walk, to be able to exercise, to be able to perform, because it helps repair the tissues in our body. So if you go to the gym or you take a walk around the neighborhood and you feel your knees getting sore, it's very important that within 30 to 45 minutes, no more than an hour of that type of vigorous exercise, that you get some type of protein into your body. And it's as simple as measuring out a fourth cup of raw nuts and having them in your car with you. It's just that simple. You don't have to go and cook a steak on the grill. Okay? It's as simple as one-fourth cup, not a half, not a full cup, 1/4 cup of raw nuts. Just that simple, okay? Thank you. You're welcome. And also, protein takes longer to digest. However, it lingers in your system for a long amount of time. So if you're eating beef, and I tell my clients this all the time, if you're eating beef, it's going to take a whole lot longer to get through your system than a salad. Even if you add grilled chicken onto the salad, that beef takes a very long amount of time to get through your digestive system. That's why sometimes when you eat a steak or a burger, you feel some kind of way up in your chest. And it's because it takes that product so many days to get through your digestive system. Okay? Okay, let's move on to our quality protein. So I know you've been in the grocery store, and especially if you've been around eggs lately, you've seen a lot of these different types of proteins. Organic. You know, everybody wants to buy something organic, right? You buy everything organic. And I'm going to tell you why it's not necessary to buy everything organic in the next slide. Free range. How many of you seen the word free range when you go in the grocery store? How many of you know what it means? What does it mean? There you go. Just let the chickens and the cows just run wide open. Don't lock them up in cages. Allow them to be free and roam around the farm. Because what happens when you have a bunch of chickens in one cage and one of them coughs or sneezes? What happens? Everybody gets sick. So that's the way we have to think about the food that we eat. If we're allowing everyone to freely roam around the farm, then you have a lesser chance of those chickens or those cows catching a disease. That's why we want to eat those free-range chickens or those free-range eggs. We want to eat those products that come from animals that have been roaming around the farm freely. Okay? They're not contained. They're not getting diseases from their cousins. Okay? All right. How about pasture-fed? I heard it right here in the middle. Donna, stand up. How you doing this morning? Stand up. What's pasture-fed? Grass-fed. So they're vegetarians. They're vegetarians and vegans. We have animals that are vegetarian and vegans. So that is so important because what they eat, who else eats it? We eat it. So you can sit down now, Donna. Thank you. Give Donna a big hand. So what the animals are intaking into their bodies when we go to the grocery store and we buy it, we're also ingesting those things into our bodies. So we want to make sure that we get animals in the purest form. So if the animals are eating grass, you'll see grass-fed on here as well, then that means they're not eating other animals. Because some farmers, some farmers just throw whatever in there and feed their animals. I'm a down east girl. I'm from the country, so I know. I know. So you have to, or it's my suggestion for you to try grass-fed meats and pasture-fed meats if you do meats, okay? Because those meats are very safe for your bodies, okay? How about wild-caught fish? We see wild-caught salmon, different things in the grocery store. Why do we want the wild-caught? Stand up, sir. Why do we want the wild caught? Because of the bacteria. Did you guys know that farmers are now raising fish? How can a farmer raise a fish that's not out in the ocean? He got them in a pond, right? We know how small a pond is. So what's happening to those fish? One get infected, what happens? So stay away from farm-raised fish. You would be surprised if you go into Sam's Club. They have a farm-raised salmon, and it looks delicious. And it's inexpensive, but please read your food labels, okay? Let's move along. Ooh, organic. It's just the drop word of the season, isn't it? So organic means no pesticides. We don't spray those fruits and vegetables with pesticides. They're naturally grown, and they have a very, very short shelf life. So, quick quiz. Should we buy an organic cantaloupe? No. Why not? Why not, Miss Connie? Stand up and tell us why. It already has a shell on it. So a cantaloupe has a hard outer shell on it. And we're not going to eat the skin of the cantaloupe, correct? We're just going to cut into the cantaloupe and cut the meat out of it and eat it. So we do not need to buy vegetables and fruits that already have an outer layer on them that we're not going to eat. So bananas. We do not need to buy organic bananas. But if you go to the grocery store and there's 10 cents extra a pound, they're going to sell them to you, right? So I'm trying to just save you a few dollars. So you do not have to buy every single thing organic. But some things that we really need you to buy organic: strawberries, grapes, your lettuces, your spinach, your collards. My collards are organic because I get them from my grandfather's garden. So I know what he's putting in them. Celery, peaches, those types of things, apples, those types of fruits and vegetables are the things that we need to buy organic because we're eating the outer layer of them. Okay? Is that clear for everyone? Organic versus non-organic. Now, there is a store called Trader Joe's. It is a very inexpensive place for you to buy organic fruits and vegetables. Remember, back to the basics. So we're going to save money in our pockets, and we're going to keep things very simple. And do not buy organic things in bulk unless you have a very large family who's going to eat it within a few days, because it will spoil whether you put it in the refrigerator or not, because it has a very short shelf life. Okay? Everybody clear on organic? Awesome. Proceed. Ooh, sugar. The sugar-coated life. So a study done by Dr. Joseph McCarlo states that eating or drinking 100 grams, which is 8 tablespoons of sugar, can reduce the ability of white blood cells to kill germs by 40%. The immune suppressing effect of sugar starts less than 30 minutes after ingestion and lasts for about 5 hours. That is correct. So if you're eating a lot of sugar, what did I tell you at the front of the presentation? It could be hard for you to fight off